Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Time Out with Sports Adda. Good morning, Arun, and welcome back. Test cricket is back, and that makes all of us happy.
Absolutely. Look at the smiles on our faces. That should tell the story by itself. Test cricket's back, yeah. I mean, T20 cricket, we've all enjoyed it. I mean, it's thrill a minute, but nothing like Test cricket, is there?
Absolutely, and this is a new format that we've seen for the first time. Culmination of 2 year cycle of Test cricket. It's almost at the West Indies tour where we first played. India first played. It seems like a generation ago, isn't it? So much has happened after that.
I know. I was there. I was there in the Caribbean for that tour. I mean, it was. Uh, uh, you didn't know what was happening. I mean, there was so much uncertainty. There was so much criticism of the point system. So much has happened since. You're right. But can't wait for this final to begin.
Absolutely spot on. I know your favorite player is going to be playing and captaining one of the teams, and we'll obviously talk
That's
about
not
it.
Virat Kohli. Let me make that clear.
Yes, I think we are aware of that. So we'll talk about him going forward. But should we just recap of how the World Test Championship stands? How have the teams performed? Can we just can should we have a look at that?
Yeah, it's straightforward, Akhil. India v New Zealand in the final, obviously the top two teams. But if you look at what this points table doesn't tell you is there was a lot of excitement running right to the end. Because of all the pandemic, the COVID pandemic and stuff. The point system had to be tweaked in between. It was no longer just the number of points on the table, but percentage of points won. And hence, there was Australia in the running, there was England in the running to make the final. Eventually, though, India v New Zealand, and we're delighted.
Absolutely delighted. The ICC must be delighted that India is a part of the final so that the viewership numbers suddenly get a spike. But before we move ahead, Arun, this is, World Test champions. They've always been unofficial World Test champions in Test cricket, right? West Indies have been dominating the sport for so long in the 70s until the late 80s. Pakistan tried to challenge them, if you remember, in the late 80s with a squad that was amazing. Then
Hmm.
obviously Australia took over, dominated world cricket. England, South Africa were extraordinary after 2008, and then India has been a force to reckon with. So I think I'm happy with the way that that there is a culmination to officially crown a World Test champion. I hope rain doesn't play a spoil sport, and it's a good game of cricket.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. Uh, you can talk about West Indies, you can talk about Australia, you can talk about India as well. Rightly so. We've been the top ranked team, for the last 6 years, I think, if I remember correctly. But yeah, once you're crowned the official world champions of Test cricket, no questioning that. Absolutely no debates there. And it's all the more important that India wins this because there's a question mark against Virat Kohli's name. Now hasn't won a big ICC event yet, hasn't won a title yet. Like I mean, the test rankings, the Mace and all of that aside, hasn't won the IPL, hasn't won an ICC trophy with the Indian team. This is his opportunity, and he'll be waiting to get that trophy in his hands.
Oh, absolutely. And India has had a decently tougher part to the finals, if I can call that, because we were supposed to play three home series, three away series. We played more matches also than New Zealand coming into the finale. So, I mean, what were your memories? If you can give you a quick recap of India's memory, like your memories about each of India's Test series. You watched some of them live at the stadium. West Indies was special for me just because of the way that Bumrah bowled and the way Ajinkya got his runs 100 after a long time. So for me, that was very special. What are your key memories out of these series?
The West Indies one for personal reasons because that's the first time I worked with Sir Viv Richards, and that was an experience I won't forget for life. But cricket wise, that tour was good. Enjoyed that. But obviously, the cream will have to be the series win in Australia, Akhil.
Australia.
Virat Kohli leaving the series after the first test, Ajinkya Rahane taking over. Uh, you know, lots of changes. Lots of debutants. Yet India winning the series 2-1, phenomenal achievement. And you rightly said, India had a tougher opposition. West Indies at home, West Indies were doing fairly well then. Then you played South Africa, then you played Australia, and then you played England recently. So yeah, India have done well.
India have done well. I think I personally wanted to also win in New Zealand, but I mean I'm a little bit of cricket geek in that way where I want this Indian team to go and be a force wherever they play. It shouldn't matter whether it's in India. I want them to be like an all-conquering force. The opposition should be they should be scared to play India. That's the kind of dream that I have for this Test squad. Okay, what about New Zealand then? Where have New Zealand played and how have they gone into the finals?
These black caps, these Kiwis are silent performers. I mean, barring that one series in Australia when they were blown away, I was in Australia at that point in time. They were blown away. They were absolutely no match to the Aussies. But they won against India at home. They beat West Indies, they beat Pakistan. So they've had the easier of the journey, yes. In between, they played a series against England, which is not counted for the World Test Championship. That's poor scheduling. But yeah, I mean, they've got the results. They worked their way to the final, and so it promised. And look, don't look at the opponent. Just look at the players they've got. Look at the side they've got. I mean, there's obviously Kane Williamson, there's Ross Taylor, but look at that bowling attack. Trent Bolt, Tim Southee, Neil Wagner, Kyle Jamieson. I think it's called Jamieson now. So you've got 4 outstanding pacers. The batting's wobbly, yes, but I think New Zealand's the type of side where a player will put up his hand, once in a while and say, "I'll do the job for you." It could be Devon Conway, it could be Ross Taylor, it could be Kane Williamson, it could be Henry Nichols, for all you know. But somebody will score runs and somebody will bail the team out.
Absolutely spot on. I mean, one player that we all miss out when talking about, and he's a personal favorite, uh, is Tom Latham. Uh, the way he marshals, he was a captain for the last Test match. He's almost got 10 Test hundreds now, like coming up to 10 Test hundreds, and he always contributes to them in the way that they want. I mean, what that is a kind of opener that somebody wants, who can keep wickets when needed. And obviously, their wicket keeper is also averaging close to 40 with 8 to 9 Test hundreds. I mean, it's a fabulous squad that they've built. The only thing that they have not been tested is they've been good. They've been lucky in a way to just play two test series at home, where the opposition don't get enough time to acclimatize to the conditions and they can just wrap away the series. They will be tested in India like the other teams are if they come to play a 3 or 4 test series and they have to play in a bubble with Ravichandran Ashwin, Ravi Jadeja, and others going and spinning a web. That is not going to be the easy task. They don't really have a spinner who can dominate in these conditions. So yeah, that is something that I look forward to. But that's the format of the championship, so can't complain at all.
No, in fact, in the last couple of days, I've been hearing my kids have been singing around the house, and there was this one song that I caught up, "Into the Unknown." If you know that from Frozen 2, I think it is. Into the unknown is how it goes. This is exactly that. We don't know what's going to happen. Look, India and New Zealand have played against each other, but it's in India or in New Zealand, right? But just quickly looking at why I'm worried about New Zealand. New Zealand beat India 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times out of the last 6 in ICC events. Akhil, that's a worry for me. 2019 World Cup semi-final is still giving me nightmares, right? Go back in time, 2016 T20 World Cup, 2007 T20 World Cup, 2000 Champions Trophy, so where they went on to win the title, if I remember correctly. So New Zealand have been a pain for India in ICC events. So that's why I'm a little worried. But this championship final itself is, like I said, there's a lot of uncertainty. We played in India, we played in New Zealand, but we're playing in England now. New Zealand have an advantage because they've played 2 test matches. They know they've been around. The bodies are, nicely warmed up. But I don't know how much the conditions will matter in this contest. If at all, you'd want to believe that New Zealand have an edge, but then don't discount the Indian pace attack. The Indian pace attack is among the best ever. I'm not talking about best now. So I don't know if anything, This is 50-50, or you can say 50.1, 49.9, Akhil. It's that close.
So, one interesting point, Arun, and it's not been again spoken about much. I mean, I don't know, journalists have not captured it yet. People talk that conditions in England and New Zealand are the same, but the pitch that New Zealand served up for us in the last Test series, usually I've heard this from a few people. Usually the grass layer which is there is around 5 to 6 inches, which is that makes it like a grassy pitch. The pitches that were served to us in New Zealand last time, the grass cover was around 16 to 18 inches. So that was the difference, and that is not usually the grass cover that you see anywhere, unless it's a home team who are really, really desperate to win matches. And the bowling actually changes when you have so much grass there. Bowlers like a Bumrah, Shami, who are hit the deck and who can bowl well in flat decks. They do not get necessarily the same kind of assistance on these kind of grassy pitches. So it's a very tactical, very small nuance of how much grass is kept on the wicket, and that is an advantage that New Zealand might not have in Southampton when they play. So you're right. Like Indian pace attack is probably one of the best ever, not just currently, but best ever.
But also remember, Akhil, this time the curator overseeing preparations is an ICC curator, and he's spoken about giving fair conditions, chance for everybody. I mean, that's what curators normally say. But we'll see how the pitch acts and behaves. But like I said, 50-50 or 50.1, 49.9. I'm at this stage, I'm not ready to pick a winner. It's that close.
Okay, so I know you have one captain as your favorite in the two teams there, but there is another captain that I want to first talk about. I mean, he's been phenomenal in England, isn't he? Last time, the Indian captain.
Yeah. I mean, this is the number that people will bank on. Virat Kohli is due for 100, right? Hasn't scored 100 in a while, but look at that. 2014 average 13.4. He was done outside the off stump time and again, but 2018, 4 years later, phenomenal. I don't think he was dismissed by James Anderson once in that tour, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong, but I don't think he was dismissed by Anderson. So
he wasn't.
Phenomenal improvement, and India need runs from him. India need runs from Virat Kohli.
Absolutely. I mean, he's been the linchpin of the batting order. It's a tribute to India that they won a Test series in Australia without him scoring runs, without him actually being. I mean, they've reached the finals without him being the top scorer for India also. So it's a phenomenal achievement. But yeah, I mean, that guy has just been phenomenal on the last tour. I think it will be. You're right. I mean, if he will want to stamp his authority as the best player in the world on the biggest World Test Championship final. He's always spoken about how much he loves Test cricket and how much he values that India Test cap. So for him, this will be a great opportunity to leave a mark, which is going to last for generations, isn't it?
Absolutely.
This will be spoken about for years.
History in the making. If Virat Kohli gets 100, it's there in the books. It's there for eternity. We will talk about it. Our next generation will probably talk about it. Generation after that will talk about it. So Virat needs to get a big one. I mean, it's not that India don't have others. I'm just going to quickly read through the Indian squad, Akhil. What's your make of it? Any surprises, and do you know which 11 you're going with, or who are the 4 who might not play?
Yeah, I think they'll stick to getting 5 batsmen with Rohit and Shubman opening, Pujara, Virat, Ajinkya the main batting engine, and I think Ravindra Jadeja, Ashwin, Rishabh Pant are a formidable 6, 7, 8 in all conditions, not just in Indian conditions, just with the confidence that these three have. And obviously, it will be a toss-up between Siraj and one of the Pacers, but if I know what the Indian management thinks, I think they'll back their top guys. I think they all like Ishant Sharma. They all like Mohammad Shami. So I think they'll stick to that 11.
Siraj and Shami is being spoken about a battle, but honestly, is it a battle at all? Is it a contest at all? I think Shami, given his ability to swing, move the ball, English conditions, the ball coming out straight and doing just enough For me, Shami over Siraj.
Absolutely, and he's a proven performer. I mean, he's delivered for India in South Africa, in England last time, in Australia when he was called upon, in West Indies. He's bowled on flat tracks in India whenever they needed. So he's a proven performer. I think he deserves an opportunity to get. I mean, one he needs a 3-4 wicket spell, quick spell for the game to turn around, and that's why the Indian pacers are dangerous. Both Ishant, all three, Ishant, Bumrah, and him, they're capable of producing that quick 3-4 wicket burst spell to seal the match.
Bumrah is a certainty. Ishant, I'd imagine, is a certainty. Which Shami doesn't have too much match practice. So if I'm a selector, if I'm a selector on tour, I'm going to pick Shami just on the basis of what he's done in the past. But the team management might just consider what's happening in these simulation games right now. So how are Shami and Siraj performing? That might just influence the selection. But for me, Shami any day.
Absolutely. One point, Arun, where India definitely has a huge advantage, and I think that has not been exploited enough by the Indian captain. Sometimes is we have a quality spinner. We have two quality spinners, obviously, but we have one champion who's gearing towards 400 Test wickets, who's always delivered well in overseas conditions. In the first game of a Test series, hasn't he?
Hold it there.
Ravichandran Ashwin doesn't get the respect.
Hold it there. You missed out the term all-time great. You're supposed to refer to Ashwin as all-time great. but here are the numbers you're talking about. Here are the numbers you're talking about, Akhil. First test of an overseas tour, brilliant stat that you've picked up. 5 wickets in Adelaide, 3 wickets at Wellington, 6 wickets in Adelaide in 2018, and 7 wickets in Birmingham. It's often these kind of stats that tell you a picture. Ashwin might not have done well, or so the perception is. People say doesn't have a fifer overseas, but hey, you need a fifer if you can get 4 crucial wickets or 3 crucial wickets and turn the game on its head. What if you get a Kane Williamson? What if you get a Steve Smith like he did in Adelaide? Job done. That's what matters. Pick the key wickets, and Ashwin will have a role now. People like Ross Taylor, Henry Nicholls, Watling, they will be a little jittery when Ashwin, especially when they're starting. Jadeja and Ashwin operating either end, when a new batsman walks out to bat, that's the opportunity.
Absolutely, and the amount of they have left-handers. Conway's never played Ashwin before, if you remember. He's a left-hander. We all know how Ashwin is against left-handers. The other opener that they are going to play with is also Latham is also going to be a left-hander. The bottom order that they have, if they play the spinner Mitchell Santner,
Santner is not there though. So Santner is not there, but yeah, they've got left-handers plenty. Yeah, they've got left-handers are plenty, and Ashwin will have a roller kill. And I'm glad you picked up the stat yesterday.
Absolutely. What about the New Zealand squad, Arun? What do you figure there? You have any picks for the 11?
I know I'm fairly settled. The toss-up's got to be between Ajaz Patel and one other pacer. Look, the ones I have picked as not to play would be Matt Henry, Will Young. Who else am I missing? Colin de Grandhomme. That's 3. Who am I missing? I don't know. I can't. And there's a reserve wicketkeeper.
Blundell.
Who is that? Tom Blandell, correct. I was looking for wicketkeeper. Tom Blandell, you're right. So those are the 4 not playing. So it's a fairly straightforward selection. I don't know if New Zealand will want to leave out Ajaz Patel and pick Matt Henry or a Colin de Grandhomme. I'm not a big fan of Colin de Grandhomme. I saw him in Australia. Doesn't make the cut for me. So it's got to be Matt Henry or Ajaz Patel. And you shouldn't go into a test without a spinner. You should not.
Except maybe if it's if it's England and they are selecting a squad for some different conditions. But you're right.
Even if it's absolutely green, no. You see, England paid the price for what happened now in the New Zealand series. Joe Root had to bowl, right? When Ajaz Patel turned up and picked up 3 wickets. Look, spinners will have a role always, right? Irrespective of the conditions, they can do a holding job. They can give your fast bowlers a break. And if the holding job is done well, wickets will come at the other end. So always have a specialist spinner in your ranks. So I believe.
Absolutely. And now I want to come to the part which is going to be your favorite of the entire episode. You obviously like Kane Williamson. His record in England is very similar to two of India's premier batsmen, if I want to bring that up. Pujara, Rahane both averaged 28, 29 in England, and Williamson is also averaging in the as 26. An aberration?
I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, I've looked at the stats. A lot of it, those 5 Test matches were 2016, I think. So a lot has changed since. But yeah, 53.6 career average, and you have it's 52, 50, 26, 27. So Kane Williamson's numbers in England, considering he's a Kiwi, plays in similar conditions, is a bit of a shock for me. I couldn't believe it when I saw this, and I had to kind of confirm it on a couple of occasions. But yeah, it's an aberration. I'd like to believe it's an aberration, and he'll score run. He's too good a batsman to miss out. World Test Championship doesn't matter. A final, not a final. England, not England. India, South Africa, doesn't matter. Back him to score runs. Too good a player.
Absolutely. I mean, he's too good. I mean, thankfully, maybe he gets 100, but India wins. That is the ideal situation for a lot of cricket fans.
Keeps us both happy.
Okay, one more stat that I wanted to bring up, and currently there are so many good pacemen operating world cricket. A lot of them are not going to be playing here, but the ones that we have now on display have been doing a phenomenal job, isn't it, for the last 2-3 years?
And these are the pacers we're talking about, Akhil, are the ones who will most likely play in this test match, right? We spoke about India. It'll be Ishant, Bumrah, Shami, hopefully. We spoke about New Zealand as well. It's going to be Bolt, Saudi, Jamieson, and Wagner. I'm a huge fan of Wagner, though those numbers don't seem to make justice. I saw him in Australia again, and the way he bombarded Smith and Labuschagne, and the short ball attack was phenomenal, outstanding. Some of the best bowling I've seen in my life. But yeah, I mean, look at the strike rates of the Indian pacers, Akhil. In the World Test Championship, Shami's strike rate is 39, Ishant is 36, Bumrah is 49. But again, Bumrah should count himself unlucky because a lot of the times he did well, but the wickets fell at the other end. So Indian bowler strike rate has been outstanding. Look at the Kiwis. Trentford is 59, Tim Southee is 46, Jamieson is 33. So yeah, I mean, these pacers, it's going to be fun to watch. I can promise you that. Scoring runs is not going to be easy.
Absolutely. I mean, Indian batsmen have not had easy oppositions for the last 2 series. If you think of it, 3 series, 2 tough tests in New Zealand, 4 tough tests versus the Australian attack in Australia, and then the conditions that they had to face here in England just because the team had to win. So the tracks being served out. So they are anyways not having easy pitches to bat on, and it's going to be a challenge for this test and the 5 tests after that. So interesting phase there.
Yeah, I'm not going to look at the 5 Test matches yet. My focus is all on the coming 5 days of the World Test Championship final. Look, like I said, this is so much into the unknown, so much uncertainty. I would like to pick a winner, but I'm not able to pick the winner. And that tells you the story in itself, right? You don't know what's going to happen.
Yes, all we can hope for is a good 4 to 5 days of rain-free cricket, brilliant pitch, and let the Pacers bowl with fire.
Or I hope it rains, but I hope the weather gods make up for what they did to India in the last tour. When the weather gods were against us. Every time we went out to bat, it was cloudy. Every time England came out to bat, it was sunny. I hope the weather gods are on our side this time.
All right, fantastic. So fantastic talking to you again, Arun. And we'll continue to be back here on Sports Adda and catch up with everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Look forward to seeing you again.
Pleasure, Akhil. Speak soon.